This week's episode was brought to you by Simply Nikki. Thank you, Simply Nikki. It's with the ongoing support of listeners just like you that our tiny passion project stays afloat and continues to deploy our band of bunny info raiders into areas that are unsuitable for humans, loot the orchard of its fruit, and make you a wisdom smoothie. If you'd like a KEMETIC cooler smoothie, or to just hear the second half of this episode, same thing I guess, then please visit, or have your dedicated AI assistant visit, www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 will not only get you instant access to the second half of this episode, but you'll be given access to an entire library of extended, uncensored, forbidden knowledge-having episodes, which is so much cheaper than any other magic school on the internet. You just need to wade through an ocean of bad jokes, which exists to lessen my karmic debt for telling them to you. But not only that, at some point in the future, nobody's really sure when, you'll receive a 5x5 vinyl sticker of our Big Bunny Baphomet cover art at no additional cost. And finally, you'll be given the keys to our ultra super secret Discord server, where you can both discuss the weird stuff on the show with us, share pictures of your pets, or play Arc Raiders when the stars happen to line up. If you enjoy the show, make sure to give us a like, subscribe, or share on your social media platform of choice, where you can out yourself as an enjoyer of strange things and call forth the wrath of the thought police down upon you in real time. Thank you for your service. In this week's show, Heka Astra continues to lead us through part 4 of her research on the ancient Egyptian Neteret of justice, wisdom, and truth, the goddess Ma'at. Because animals are fundamental to the spiritual worldview of pretty much everyone, we uncover many poetic truths bound up within the physical anatomy of the bird itself, used to symbolize Ma'at's wisdom, the ostrich. On the free side of the show, we discuss the language of the birds, medieval heraldry, Egyptian hieroglyphs, the Hebrew alphabet, what makes ostriches so frizzy, and how they differ from another spiritually adjacent symbol, the vulture. In the extended show, we get down into the guts of the ostrich, literally explore its digestion with Miss Frizzle, see where the myth and science overlap, before explaining how Johnny Cash almost met his demise at the foot of one. We even find time to discuss cheetahs, woodchippers, and the deeply mystic origin of the Easter egg, which, to my surprise, was actually a bona fide part of the early Christian church. And I'm like, what? Thank you, and enjoy the show. Why is an ostrich wealthy?
Why?
Because if it wasn't, it would be an ost poor.
Banger.
Why couldn't the ostrich fit with the rest of the chickens?
Because it's not a chicken. Why?
It was ostrich-sized from the chicken coop.
Oh.
Did you hear about the giraffe and ostrich race?
No.
It was
No.
neck and neck.
It's bad.
What do you call an ostrich that practices dark magic?
What?
An ostrich.
Ugh,
Oh boy.
I like that one.
The world's largest egg? It's laid by the ostrich.
Yeah.
The world's largest woman is laid by your dad.
What?
Wait, what?
I don't
What
get
did you
it.
just say?
What?
I said the world's largest woman laid by your dad.
Oh, your dad.
Oh, okay. It's not nearly as bad as I thought it
It's
was.
a your mom joke.
Yes!
Yeah.
I was confused because I thought you said her dad, and I was like,
I thought it was
gross.
way darker.
Yeah, I was like, ew, gross.
My mom's fat.
Yo, mama.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Whole Rabbit, where we don't just tell you that the lady in the red dress is not actually an agent of Satan, but is really the personification of all that is balance, hope, and goodness. Nay, we get out our bird farming pants, a deck of tarot cards, Kevlar body armor, standard issue clock, and a sack big enough to carry a stash of dinosaur eggs, because this week we're going to be exploring the ostrich in its natural habitat, poking around in its anatomy and figuring out exactly what it has to do with the ancient Egyptian goddess Ma'at, the Neteret of justice and truth. I'm your host, Luke Madrid, also known as Hack Rabbit. I'm joined this week by our loyal officers in the field, the Whiskey Red Rover. Send her right over. Mari Sama.
Aroo!
The Archon of Anathema, Tim the Theurgic Tool Manager Hacker.
I am an Archon.
And the author and director of this series, the expert unicorn with noodles and a shotgun, Heka Astra.
Hello. Are you guys ready to talk about pantless thunder geese?
Yes.
I was born ready.
They're so tasty, FYI.
You liar, you haven't eaten one.
I've eaten ostrich.
What? Without
Yeah.
me?
They have jerky. It's good.
Oh my god.
Also, the eggs are apparently pretty good too.
I know we're 4 episodes deep into ancient Egypt, but these are my favorite type of episodes where you're like, how many ways can we find God inside of this bird? Let's do it. Have you ever seen one of these in person? They're freaky.
They're kind of scary, actually, because they're very tall.
They're bigger than you think.
Luke and I went to an ostrich farm for our honeymoon. Well, a part of it.
Yeah.
And we got to feed ostriches. They're amazing. If you've never been to an ostrich farm and you have the opportunity to, you should go. And you should take with you all of the stuff that you learned about today.
There's ostrich jerky. If you don't like the birds, you can eat them later. Like where they're stored in my imagination, it's basically right next to the raptors in Jurassic Park, but with feathers. They're like that
Well, the
big.
raptors in Jurassic Park really did have feathers. You know that, right?
Exactly. They're basically raptors. So, okay, Heka, what does this have to do with Egypt? These ferocious,
Creatures. Did you know that Australia actually went to war with them and lost?
like they rode into battle on ostriches?
No, they went to war against ostriches. You never heard of that?
No.
Is it because it was a bunch of criminals way back when and they symbolized justice and they were like, no.
Convenient.
So, what I make you? Good? You're not good.
Oh, they're emus, my bad. Emus are different. Okay.
Same thing.
It's called the Great Emu War of 1932.
Do they even have ostriches in Australia?
They're emus. It's
But
the
do
same
they
thing.
No,
have-
it's a-
no,
no.
they're not. Emus are smaller.
Well, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah, we're going to dissect Ma'at lovingly this episode. So obviously we've arrived at the animal whose feather both Shu and Ma'at are symbolically associated with. So let's talk about those glorious pantless thunder geese. I always personally consider any bird symbolism to be especially important since we are talking about something still referred to esoterically as the language of the birds. Alchemy, Kemet, Egypt, the sacred writings, which is what hieroglyphs are.
You mean to say the language of the birds is when you talk in code about the mysteries?
Well, there are a lot of bird hieroglyphs, and hieroglyphs itself means it's like sacred glyphs, right? So all of that symbolism is basically what we're unpacking specifically in relation to the ostrich. Like they didn't just use this bird hieroglyph or that bird hieroglyph for no reason. Each one of them had like a lot of layers to it. So understanding this language of the birds does connect you to nature or the Neteret. This involves listening to what the Neteret or the many natures teach us, and it is the wisdom which was inscribed in artistic and hieroglyphic symbolism as code. It's also what coincidentally might make you a hippie communing with nature.
In terms of entertaining, interesting, or useful things to pay attention to, animals are way up there, especially for like an ancient person. Like you don't have computers, you don't have cars or phones. Like we have to make our phones chirp to pay attention to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My mom said the first time I saw a bird up close, like a parrot, I laughed for 30 minutes straight.
I believe it.
They are pretty ridiculous.
So like I was saying, Egypt has a lot of hieroglyphs, and a lot of those are birds.
So you're saying Egypt is bird world?
Lights feel like the future in here.
Yes. Each species of bird had its own special meaning in ancient Egypt, rife with wisdom about the universe that is relayed through that bird's symbolic living nature.
This may seem occult today, but this is one of those things that just being educated like 100 years ago, you would have just known about. For instance, like why is Jack Sparrow called Jack Sparrow?
Is it because sparrows are generally thought of as a pest?
Oh, there you go. Or what does it mean when a raven comes knocking at your door?
At your chamber door.
What does it mean?
Rapping,
6, 7.
Yeah, they're the original rappers.
saying nevermore.
But what's the vibe? What's the intent? What does it mean?
Death.
Exactly. It's almost unspoken.
There's a whole classification of carrion birds, right?
This is the language of the birds, is what I'm getting at.
So for Ma'at, this means that we should take great interest in the ostrich, specifically since it is an implied relationship via her primary symbol, and that's the shoe feather, the ostrich feather. So allow me to introduce to you the North American ostrich, also known as the red-necked ostrich.
What'd you call me?
I got my shoe gotten down there.
American? I thought they were from Africa.
Didn't I say African?
You said they're rednecked.
You said North American.
I did say North American.
For clarification, it's North Africa, not North America.
Get on out of here.
I don't know if I misspoke or not, but it is the North African ostrich, and its scientific name is Struthio camelus camelus. And yes, you heard that correctly. Its official name has camelus twice. So this is because it is the nominate species of the common ostrich, hailing from West and North Africa. This species was once abundant in areas like Egypt, but just like many other animals, it ultimately disappeared from that area due to overhunting.
Rednecks love hunting.
And while it is no longer found in Egypt or the entire periphery of the Sahara as it once was, it can still be found in some other regions, but only 6 of the 18 countries that it used to thrive in, to be exact.
So it's endangered but not extinct.
Well, it's extinct from areas, but not other areas. So ostriches can live up to 70 years. The adults are usually weighing in around 340 pounds. They can tower up to a striking 9 feet in height.
See? That's what I mean. They're tall.
And as such, they are the world's largest species of living birds, both by weight and size.
Does this mean Big Bird is an ostrich, technically speaking?
Maybe.
I don't know, he's yellow though.
And he doesn't have the naked neck and head.
He's got Lydia Vago or whatever.
Okay, you guys, a cool fun fact, their eggs are like the biggest in the world too, but an egg is technically one cell. So it's also the largest cell on the planet.
That's neat.
That's very interesting.
That's a cool fact.
You know, that reminds me of the Ace of Discs.
Oh, that'd be a great emblem for it.
Watch, it's already there or something. Somebody get the Ouija board. We could call it Lady Frida Harris right now. Or just use Google, whatever.
On it.
So the title for the tallest and heaviest species of birds is held by Ma'at's implied mascot, the Struthio camelus camelus. So in case you missed the all too obvious symbolism here, just this alone denotes how grand and all-encompassing Ma'at truly is. And it is largely subliminal because you only see a part of it, its feather.
So this rang a bell for me, and we always like to bring it back to the tarot. So the Hebrew letter Lamed, it's also the tallest letter in the Hebrew alphabet, as the ostrich is the tallest bird. The primary link between both systems, birds and letters, is that they're component parts of a wisdom language. Interesting that justice in the tarot owns both the biggest bird and the biggest letter. So while pondering this, I thought, you know, the letter Lamed itself looks kind of like an ostrich.
Luke superimposed them, like a Lamed over top of an ostrich, and he's got a good point. If you have access to the show notes, go check it out.
And Heka's going to discuss the flat part of the Lamed being part of the ostrich's body as an important part of its biology. So I don't know if anyone's ever drawn the link between these two, but Ma'at, ostrich, justice card, Lamed, it looks like an ostrich, okay? And I don't know if that's what they were thinking. There's the earlier versions of the Lamed.
Don't look like an ostrich.
Well, not as much.
Okay, so I did previously say that I would come back to the wings. So here we are. We're going to talk about the wings and the legs. So the ostrich belongs to a group of birds called ratites.
Are they related to Hittites?
It's basically a group of flightless birds that includes emus, kiwis, and cassowaries.
Those are the ones we discussed earlier, the very dangerous birds, basically.
All your dino birds.
The ones that'll kill you.
So the word ratite comes from the Latin ratis, meaning raft. And this is because ratites have a smooth breastbone which lacks the keel, and that makes the breastbone look more like a raft. Too bad they weren't called barkites.
This is what I was talking about earlier. They do look a bit boat-like. The long flat section in the middle looks like a boat, but then it has a rudder, and that becomes like the ostrich's legs if you superimpose it over the ostrich. If you take off the leg, it looks a little bit like a Viking ship. The letter Lamed, you know? And the ostrich, it looks like a Viking ship.
So for birds that do fly, the keel typically serves as a kind of anchor for the pectoral muscles. So this is so that they can get the leverage that they need for flight. And ostriches don't fly, so they lack this keel. Their wings are totally useless for flight, but they're highly suited for running instead.
So they're broken.
No.
Broken.
No.
Broken bird.
The flattened breastbone also allows the ostrich to place its full weight on it while it's resting. Unlike other birds, this makes a lot of sense symbolically for both Ma'at and Shu, because it's kind of like saying creation itself is self-supporting of creation. She was depicted artistically this way as well. He's often shown holding up and supporting all of creation, similar to how the Greeks envisioned Atlas.
This is how they taught it to me in the hermetic materials I got a hold of. The sign of Shu, and you're to put your hands up as if you're Atlas. And this is the sign you use to invoke the powers of air. Maybe you're trying to get in touch with Raphael to heal your gout. You find yourself making the sign of Shu. Now, this body shape you're speaking of, without the keel, when they sit, it makes them look like they're swans, but of the earth. They look like swans on the water, but they're on like grass.
Yep. Majestic. So being flightless implies that despite this being such a universal principle, it is down to earth, evident on an earthly scale, and anchored or grounded. Also, even though ostriches are flightless, they do still have some pretty big wings. Actually, they're ginormous. An adult's wing cord is approximately 35 inches long. That's around the same length as the largest flying birds, and their full wingspan is about 2 meters or 6.5 feet.
With such a large wingspan, I'm curious how long ago they evolved to just be on land. And I wonder what the ancient Egyptians thought of this. What is this feathered being doing on the land?
I don't know. I think that's kind of how birds started out.
So basically, they optimized in this direction.
Yeah, but they're like the ones that are more like the dinosaurs. They're like an older version that doesn't fly because it's too heavy. But the feathers do a lot of other stuff. They like protect the skin, and they're lighter than scales, I guess. I don't know.
Them look fabulous.
Even though ostriches don't fly, they do use their massive wings for balance and maneuverability while running. So, fun fact, sometimes they kind of look like how the characters in Naruto look when they're running.
Naruto run.
So they're weebs.
Their wings actually do help them with zigzagging, turning, or stopping suddenly. So what does this mean for how Ma'at is expressed? I think it translates pretty directly. Ma'at is swift, sometimes seemingly erratic, random. I'm sure everyone is familiar with the saying.
The Lord works in mysterious ways, Bobby.
So life is strange, and so is Ma'at, despite all the order that she represents.
Life is broken, just like the ostrich.
Not broken.
All I know is pain.
Too heavy to fly, also deadly and very hungry.
Well, I feel like also the feathers will regulate their body temperature
Yes.
because they do live in very hot areas.
Also, in regards to ostriches running around with all these weird, like, zigzagging and stopping and turning, if you want to bring the Kabbalistic tree of life into the equation, it's like all of the paths. You've got, like, zigzagging, turning, raising one's head. The similarities seem to track just as well as metaphors.
Well, what about the one where the ostrich puts their head in the sand to not see what's going on?
Well, we're going to get to that.
Okay, cool.
I think the fact their bottom half looks like a bird and their top half looks like a snake, like they could go both directions on the tree of life.
That's true.
Oh, that's true.
Maybe that's what they never tell you. That's what the middle path is. It's the ostrich path.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of wings in general, it'd be assumed that the ostrich is fast, because wings generally symbolize air, which itself is meant to mean swiftness. Or have you ever heard the phrase, quick as the wind?
Yeah.
I thought they were fast.
Well, they're very fast.
Yeah, you can't run.
So I think now is as good a time as any to talk about the winged version of Ma'at and how she appears to us. So despite all of the ostrich symbolism, the wings that she has in artistic representations are not ostrich wings. The pointedness on the feathers of those wings tells us that they are wings of a bird which does fly.
Wait a minute, so she can fly?
Apparently, that pointy, asymmetrical design of the feathers on the wings that we see Ma'at with, they're meant for flight.
So she can fly!
And this in turn speaks to the dualistic ways in which we see Ma'at. So on the one hand, her singular feather symbolism references a flightless, down-to-earth bird. And on the other hand, we see that she is sometimes clearly represented as having flight-ready wings, like those of the other winged goddesses, like Isis.
Okay, so, if she doesn't have ostrich wings, what wings does she have?
Well, they appear to be in either the likeness of vulture wings or black kite wings. So do you remember how in the previous episode we discussed how the vulture is often a symbol associated with Mut, the mother Neteret?
Yes.
So we also brought up the Hebrew golem and the use of the word emet.
Yes.
Now, I think just to point out that the word for death, Mut, despite sharing the same phonetic math as the word for mother, Mut, is never spelled with a hieroglyph that's a vulture.
Never a vulture.
So the Mut for death never has the vulture, but the word for mother does. Ancient Egyptians didn't have the same negative associations with vultures as other cultures did, or that we we still do in modern times. So vultures were considered protective, symbols of immaculate conception via the sun's light, and symbols of ultimate motherhood.
It's funny that it's swapped nowadays, because you think of vultures like, oh, they stick their heads inside of dead stuff. But when you got time to sit around and think, well, it goes deeper than that. For instance, the Tibetans do a sort of burial called jator, which features having a corpse of the recently deceased, after giving them time to pass through the bardos, chopped up and placed somewhere up high for the vultures to come and eat the flesh. This is seen as an act of detachment and charitable to the birds. Vultures themselves have been compared to Buddhist monks in so much as they do not actively hunt for food. They only take what is given, and that's usually scraps. Sometimes associated with dakinis or sky dancers, the vultures are thought to assist in the rebirth of the human soul, as partaking of their flesh is followed by their ascent back into the heavenly realm. So, you eat the dead body, you go back up into the sky. It's very poetic. And if you really think about it, the sky is our first womb. Know what I mean?
Man, I really like turkey vultures.
Well, if you look into it, vultures are actually very good parents. They're very protective. So there are multiple kinds of vulture hieroglyphs. The one representing the Egyptian Aleph is categorized as sign G1. It's likely fashioned after the Neophron Percnopterus, and that's the Egyptian vulture, also known as the Pharaoh's chicken. And then there's G15, which is the Eurasian griffin vulture, or Gyps fulvus. This one looks more like a vulture than the other one, like what we in the Western world think of as vultures. G15 is more in line with that. So it's the griffin vulture hieroglyph that represents the Egyptian Mut.
Okay, that makes sense, because in my escape room, we have the G1 hieroglyph, and we usually it's a hawk or it's,
People call this like an eagle constantly.
Yeah, because G15 really does look like a vulture. No one would mistake that. But is this an image here in the notes you have of both?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because one looks like how we would think of a vulture,
Yeah.
and then the other one looks a lot like the hieroglyph in G1, you're saying. Okay, yeah, that's a very not vulture-looking vulture.
Yeah. That's the Pharaoh's chicken.
Pharaoh's chicken.
Yeah.
Pharaoh's chicken doesn't look like the other vulture. His head looks totally different.
So alternatively, there is also the black kite, which is a well-known opportunistic scavenger. The black kite is another large bird that is often seen as a symbol of Isis and Nephthys. So the things that all of these large birds have in common is that they produce life from death by scavenging carrion, and they spend a lot of time circling overhead. On the one hand, the circling overhead translates as a protective analogy, like you're being watched over.
This is how they're seen in Tibet, like guardians.
And on the other hand, scavenging is an attribute that becomes all the more obvious via the Osirian myth, when Isis has to scavenge and collect the many members of Osiris. So when we see Ma'at with wings, they are often the same wings as Isis and Nephthys, or Mut. These are all protective, and they all have the power to remember that which was divided.
Like when you have to put C-3PO back together.
What? Don't you call me a mindless philosopher, you overweight glob of grease?
Yep. So I do think it is significant that Ma'at is depicted with these wings instead of ostrich wings. Flight-ready wings on goddesses portrays another expression of harmony, and that's a harmony of the many individual points of creation, because like I said, they're asymmetrical feathers, so they're very pointed compared to an ostrich feather. This same symbolism can be applied to all of the winged goddesses in their depictions with wings, like this.
So if the angels are based on goddesses of Egypt through their hieroglyphs, then truly, vulture circling are some of the core DNA of biblically accurate angels.
Yep.
Dang.
Because they're always depicted like in rings or in circles or wheels. And then it's fun to think that angel wings, the originals, vulture wings.
I think I ranted quite a bit about Egyptian goddesses in the angel episode for this particular reason, because it's a lot of the same symbolism, but they just drop the feminine. So when I see these wings on Ma'at, I imagine Ma'at's arms as the threshold into creation and the many pointed feathers as individual manifestations. The ostrich feather on her head, Shu, breaches into the waters of creation. So these wings of flight also tells us that Ma'at is not just symbolic of the spirit's descent into matter, but also that these wings serve as a means of remembering and unification, so spiritual ascent. If we consider the Kabbalistic tree of life, all paths back across into the supernal triad notoriously require symptoms of death. And as we spoke to last week, this is also related to the word moot. However, the hieroglyphic spelling that differentiates the moot as mother and the moot that we see in the demoness Amit lets us know the difference between the two. While there may likely have been a difference in the way that those words were pronounced, we also see that the vulture moot hieroglyph name, that symbolism shows a procreative life aspect. We see this echoed in her name either by the hieroglyphs of the vulture, breadloaf, and egg, or the phallus, breadloaf, and egg, both of which are followed by the Neteret or the woman determinative.
A balanced breakfast for anyone.
So these are all fertility symbols. Whereas with the moot that's in Amit, we basically just get the following hieroglyphs. We get arm, owl, ox head and throat, another owl, breadloaf, 3 lines indicating abundance, and a man dying with an axe in his head or bleeding out from it.
Woo! So that's Amit.
Unfortunate.
That's the one that eats your heart, right? See, spelling does matter. So you're saying the guy with the axe in his head, that's Amit. That's, well, part of the last part of the name. The one that eats the hearts.
Yes, so the one that has the person with an axe in his head or is bleeding out from the head, that hieroglyph is in Amit's name, and that hieroglyph is only ever used in relation to death.
Well, that makes sense.
Is
Yeah.
it the guy on the ground with like a pipe in his head and the Zoloft cloud is raining on him?
Yeah. So to elucidate the point of eternal life versus absolute death, we can look to the speed of all of these birds that we're talking about. Like the word quick, for example. The root of this word, etymologically speaking, stems from the meaning living, alive, animated, or characterized by the presence of life.
So quicksilver would be like life-giving silver.
I grew up Anglican, so we had the King James Bible, which is pretty much Middle English to Modern English. So the live and the dead translated would be the quick and the dead. So the quick would be
Oh.
equivalent to living
Yes.
rather than running fast.
That's a great cowboy movie.
I'd never thought to look into this because quickness, as in speed, is usually associated with Mercury. I guess deadness is associated with stillness, so it would make sense that quickness is associated with life.
Yeah, life is movement and change, whereas your dead don't change. You don't move.
So, like the metal mercury, it makes sense to call it quicksilver because the quick word etymologically implies motion, like a lively motion. So it's like silver that's alive.
You know, Crowley relates this to fish, like the scales on a fish, and how you can see movement in the waters, which is what that symbol represents in alchemy, right? Because it's the spirit, right? The alcohol.
All of these parallel very well with the concept of the Holy Spirit, whether you're relating it to the lens of Abrahamic religions or medieval alchemy.
And then if you keep going with the fish symbolism, it implies that there's life in death or life after death, which is where it really matters if you lived according to Ma'at. You know what I mean?
You're gonna get
True that.
by Sylvester Stallone with a funny hat.
You know, this explains why some people get really abstract and reduce everything in religion to God is motion. I get it now.
Life is motion, yeah.
I never got it before. Now I get it.
So, with Ma'at's ability to be lively and swift, let's compare what this means regarding cases of divine justice and judgment specifically. I think it makes sense why people feel as though getting old and slow is unjust, as it's a physical loss of that lively nature, right?
Yeah.
All I know is pain.
But when it comes to how this translates to court enforced justice, we see this parallel with some Bible stories, like Sodom and Gomorrah. When justice is too slow to come to fruition, we tend to view it as unjust.
Bible time. So Ecclesiastes 8 verse 11 states, quote, "When the sentence for a crime is not quickly carried out, people's hearts are filled with schemes to do wrong," unquote.
Now we just call it broken window theory.
Yeah, I see what it's saying here is if someone is not punished, like someone who's obviously guilty, riots will break out. Like people will commit wrong because they realize, oh, well, there's no punishment for it. Like we can go ahead and do that or protest it in any way we care to because no one's carrying out the punishment. Like justice is not being served.
Yep. Also, if criminal justice applications are simply too slow, that also breeds vigilantism.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, people taking it into their own hands. And like, honestly, like if an individual like chooses the wrong person to punish, I mean, that's worse than actual justice happening.
Or it just encourages more crime because the criminals know nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's why you brought up broken window theory, right?
Same thing. But broken window theory is how the elites describe it working for the plebs. And I don't want to let them off the hook too easy because I think we all know what I'm implying. Or do we?
All right, we should burn it all to the ground.
Let's continue.
So this reiterates the need for unbiased justice to be carried out in a timely fashion in the first place, lest it become biased and creates a greater need for more justice. A body that is unable to tend to an infection adequately in a timely fashion creates a greater problem and strains the body to work much harder in a weakened state by comparison. When justice is carried out too slowly, it is unjust. And as Martin Luther King Jr. noted,
Justice too long delayed is justice denied.
That's one of his?
Yep.
Cool.
That's good.
As pointed out here, inaction itself can clarify justice through the visibly unjust. So people start to recognize injustice due to delayed justice itself.
Epstein fast.
Epstein.
Elite are all demon worshippers.
Somebody's been a bad lizard.
Eat babies.
So as these quotes point out, people may start to think of vigilante-style crimes as the just way to deal with it.
It's like I said earlier, if there's no threat of punishment for misdeeds, the misdeeds will continue.
So for example, a plowed crop field that is left alone cannot be expected to remain free of life. Weeds will eventually move in again. Alternatively, if you leave your orchard's fruitful bounties on the trees, they will become eaten by other animals and thieves alike. So it is ma'at to reap what you sow. It is also ma'at to have a plague of eager pests reap what you do not harvest. So if a person is convicted of a crime and sentenced to prison, but never ends up being put in prison, we all recognize that as injustice.
So this is why the ruling class hates ostriches so much.
Shame,
Yep.
Canada. Shame on you, Canada.
Yeah, this is like in Canada where the ostriches had COVID and then they became cured of COVID because ostriches have crazy immune systems. And then instead of, it was bird flu.
Yeah.
Well,
Same
their
thing.
argument is that birds and humans share a lot of like upper respiratory infections are pretty much interchangeable. So they're like, oh, well, bird flu, then it's okay to exterminate them because we're saving human lives. It's like,
None of them
yeah,
were
but you don't
sick.
really know that.
None of them
Yeah,
were
they
sick
weren't
when they
probably
died.
sick.
They hadn't been sick for like 9-10 months, and they were actually being researched for antibodies because they got over it so quickly and because they were rearing chicks from eggs that were immune. They actually had contracts with I can't get into it. They had
That's
contracts.
awful.
So depressing.
And basically, if you really start to look into it, Canada signed a contract with Moderna for bird flu vaccinations. And that was basically the nail in the coffin because they would not stop for anyone being able to profit off of a bird flu vaccine.
Dude, they're such hypocrites.
They don't want competition. But you know what's smart is their product doesn't work. So they're like eliminating anything that works from the market.
They killed almost 300 ostriches and claimed it's because they were health risks. And then they left the ostriches in the field and the blood in the field and the hay in the field. So it's like anybody who actually looks into it is going to be like, wow, that's not justice.
That's not true either. Like, it's obviously they lied about it.
Yeah, if it was a health risk, then they would have cleaned up all of
The bodies and stuff. Yeah.
everything.
No, it was some weird ritual thing because they wanted to do it under the eclipse. Like, and like, look, I'm just saying. It turns out
Ugh.
there's quite a bit of corruption in, science and medicine. We just did an episode about it. You should check it out if you haven't listened to it. But it's funny because ostriches, immunologically speaking, they do something very similar to what the medieval people thought they did. And we'll get to that in this episode. Because occultism wins again. You just have to, like, adjust your glasses a little bit. It's kind of fun.
And don't go killing 300 healthy ostriches.
Terminate with extreme prejudice.
I mean, that's a given. Everyone who listens to this show is an animal lover. So, I mean, no one wants to hurt ostriches.
So we understand reaping what you sow as both a positive and negative duality in life. That's just part of life. Since the ostrich is a long-distance runner, I personally feel this speaks to the commitment to integrity, upholding laws, and the body's stamina that is necessary for carrying out justice. It relies on integrity, order, and following through speedily, which is made into the analogy of achieving great progress quickly and efficiently.
Can you imagine being chased by an ostrich?
Terrifying.
Horrifying.
So we've all heard that two wrongs don't make a right, but is that what's being conveyed with ostrich symbolism? What
do you mean?
Martin Luther King Jr. also said,
True peace is not merely the absence of tension. It is the presence of justice.
so to paint this in a Ma'at metaphor, think of this like, peace is not the absence of a lion, but the full embodiment of the ostrich, meaning that harmony isn't the silence or absence of justice, but rather results from upholding justice.
Beautiful.
Shu is likewise said to be the structural empty space upholding the formation of life. He is often depicted holding the netter Geb and Newt apart, and his arms are in the Ka formation.
Yeah, he's the original Ka blocker.
Dutch.
This is why in the Hermetic tradition you make the sign of Shu when you invoke the spirits of air. It makes sense now, right? This is what we were talking about earlier.
So the two colors that we see the feathers represented as in Kemetic art, this is the ostrich feather, dark blue and white. They also reflect the colors of the ostrich's wings, and this is symbolic of the darkness of the sky and the white of the light. Their wings assist them in temperature regulation for their bodies, covering up their naked upper legs to either conserve heat or alternatively revealing their nakedness to release it.
Like priests.
What?
Nice.
I'm sorry.
So the females and young male ostriches, they have gray plumage, and that matches the color of the ground, while the males have black plumes with white primaries on their wings and tails. The most desirable plumes from the male ostriches can reach between 20 and 30 inches long per feather. And unlike other birds, the ostrich feather is structurally symmetrical.
What? That's really cool. I bet that's often overlooked.
So remember how I pointed out that the wings, when she has wings, they're flight-ready wings and they're pointy?
Yeah.
So normally wings are not symmetrical on either side of the, I believe it's called a pith.
Right.
Ostrich feathers are. So they're equally wide on either side of the central shaft. And for all the magicians out there, this is kind of like saying that life itself is middle path, reaching out equally to each pillar to embody them completely in harmony. This unique trait of the ostrich feather is used as a symbol of balance.
Fascinating.
That's awesome.
It's perfect for the symbol of Libra and of balance. And it also explains why they can't fly. Because birds benefit from Bernoulli's law, which you have to have some asymmetry in the wing because it causes a negative pressure to pull the aircraft, or in this case, the bird, upward. So the ostrich has no lift. So the ostrich is a drag.
Wait, ostrich is a drag queen?
Wait. It's the black ones that are the boys with and in the cartoons, those are always the ones doing the dancing and the see. Yeah, so you're right, Mari. Yes.
No one ever thinks about the gray ostriches because they're not as pretty.
Yeah, them.
It just reminds me of how there are male cows depicted in media that have udders for some reason.
It's like that. Yeah.
Okay, so that's not the only reason why ostriches can't fly. Ostrich feathers also lack barbicels, and those are the tiny hooks that lock the veins of feathers together. Birds that
to make
fly-
the solid feather.
Yes.
So it's not all floofy and stuff.
Yeah, so like birds that fly, you know how like all the veins of the feather are all hooked together, and you can pull
But you
them
have to
apart.
pull them apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like Velcro that
Yeah.
they're stuck together.
Yeah, so ostriches don't have those tiny little hooks. And that's why ostrich feathers have that recognizably fluffy look, and they're easily moved by a breeze, unlike other bird feathers. Ostrich feathers are also not waterproof. And this is because ostriches lack the uropygial gland that produces the oil for waterproofing. This basically means if an ostrich gets wet, they have to rely on the hot sun and the wind to dry them. And I think this is a perfect symbol for the hot air association of Shu and the necessary association with the solar aspect of Ra.
They're frizzy boys.
I'm a fancy boy.
I did not know that. I thought that they were waterproof.
Nope.
They're very unlike the other feathers, and that's poetic for what they represent. Like you said, how, okay, they respond to the wind. That's the whole thing. Like, you don't know where it comes or where it goes, but you could kind of tell if you're looking at an ostrich. Or ma'at. I don't know what the truth is. I don't know, look at the law, boy. And it makes sense that their feathers would have to be dried by the sun and the wind. It's fitting for a god of dryness, like you said.
I think ostrich wings get even weirder than that because ostrich wings have sharp claws on 2 of the 3 finger bones on their wings. And these are basically vestigial talons, but they can still be used for slashing at predators if needed.
Oh,
Dude, that's badass. Like I said, lizard hands, dude.
Yeah.
That's like some video game attack.
Yeah.
I know. It's like that soft feather hit me. How is that a damage? There's a talon in there, buddy. And it's funny because like I'd expect them to have a talon on their foot, like the raptor talon. But
Yeah.
they don't. They're on their arms.
I mean, they kind of do as well.
Yeah, but it's upstairs. It's not downstairs,
No, they
even though
got
they can
both.
kick
They
you to
have
death.
both. They're totally like raptors.
They're armed to the hilt.
Do they have a claw down there?
Yeah.
I thought they only had one.
Oh, we're getting there. So, okay, you did allude to this as well, because speaking of ancient traits, some people do consider the ostrich to be the oldest living species of birds alive today. And while
Yes.
that title is technically held by the species of the sandhill crane, the oldest ostrich fossils from the Struthio genus designation predate the crane to around 21 million years ago in Africa.
Yo, OG.
So if you include earlier ancestors of ostriches, it does actually stretch back even further. Seriously though, if you look at an ostrich, you just know that it's ancient, and modern science does confirm it.
No, they're spooky.
Have you seen Dude, Where's My Car?
A long time ago.
The ostriches in that are terrifying. I believe that they are ancient predators.
I just felt awe and love and also healthy fear of them when I saw them.
Like if you hold out a tub full of seed, what did we even feed them? It was seed?
Yeah, they're like,
Dude, they strike it like they're gonna like rip it apart.
yeah,
It's so crazy.
They gave us compressed pellets, like specialized ostrich pellet.
Okay. Just yeah, it's like when the bully smacks the lunch tray out of your hand, that's how they pack. And then they look at you in the face like they're gonna stab you.
They have a
Yes,
lot of
it's so
force.
scary.
Even just picking up the pellets, they had so much force.
Yeah.
Like, wapow, wapow, wapow.
Like if it whapped you with its head, you'd get knocked out.
I love that they have talons on their wings.
Now I want a video game about ostriches.
They're living dinosaurs.
They got all the attacks. What's that game with you have the dinosaurs fighting? Gotta have an ostrich in there now.
Oh,
Primal Rage.
Primal Rage, yeah.
Yep.
Sega Genesis.
You know what the talons on the wings remind me of? The striga. That's the Eastern European origin of the vampire. Also, usually female. And then we found that if you like really put that in the juice and squeeze it, it probably goes back to Lilith.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is like, you know, the female demon which existed in multiple ancient cultures, usually related to like stealing or killing infants or children.
Well, I think a lot of Kemetic goddesses ended up being like abject feminine,
Yeah.
rejected feminine, or demonized feminine. So that makes sense to me.
What if you'd like to hear about the beak and digestion of this giant bird and what it has to do with the esoteric anatomy of the goddess of justice, truth, and wisdom from ancient Egypt?
And those long legs.
We're gonna talk about the legs.
I think so.
Yep, there they are.
Woo!
We're gonna talk about cheetahs. Oh, and we're gonna talk about eggs.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about their eggs.
The OG Easter egg.
Excellent.
The OG Easter egg.
Excellent.
It's true, it is the original Easter egg, which is very important. But if you'd like to hear that, please visit www.patreon.com/thewholeRabbit. For your monthly donation of just $5 will not only get you the extended second half of this episode, it'll get you every single one of our episodes, because now we're 7 years old. Woo!
Yay! We're big kids now.
Yep, we're fully grown bunnies. Also, a new 5x5 high quality vinyl sticker for a big bunny bat from a cover, and you'll get the secret keys to our Discord server where you actually can ask Heka Astra about ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses. She knows way too much.
And ostriches.
Please ask her questions before we both get black bagged for one reason or another.
Don't forget about the Cool Socks Club.
That's
Yeah.
the black bag they put over your head. It's a black sock. See, I get it. It's. I'm very paranoid. Thank you, everybody. Eat carrots and shoot lasers.
Pew, pew, pew.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.